Okay, today, so happy to be joined by Margabandhu, the director of the New Jersey Integral Yoga Institute, and an IYTA 500, longtime integral yoga teacher, senior certified integral yoga instructor, proficient in all aspects of yoga, having learned directly from Gurdev in the early years. He currently sits on the Integral Yoga Teachers Council and is sought after for his opinion and advice on many topics yogic related. His long-term focus and present concern is teaching pranayama for health and body and mind, as well as nutrition, cleansing techniques, and understanding all the benefits of an integral yoga hatha class. Margabandhu, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So just from that experience, I wonder, why is it so powerful? Both the pranayama and the humming, why is that so effective for us?
Well, what the humming sound does is it creates a vibration. Your pineal gland is the master gland. And the only way that could actually be stimulated is through vibration, and that's your connection to the cosmos. So when Gurdev designed the class itself, he decided we did the Om breathing first. And that Om sound creates a peaceful vibration that lasts through the entire class. And also the pineal gland secretes melatonin, so it's very good for the nervous system. It's good for digestion. It's good for relaxation. And it's good to balance out the hemispheres in the brain.
What is the pineal gland?
It's a little gland, it's like a pea. It's good for digestion. It's good to, what it helps to do, it helps the pituitary gland release serotonin. In the 60s, when we were all doing a lot of mind-expanding drugs, Timothy Leary and Aldous Huxley produced a certain type of LSD that stimulated the pituitary and the pineal gland. And what that does is it releases serotonin. And it gives you a sudden sense of awareness. And when Gurdev came, he explained to us that the Om sound, the pineal gland and pituitary gland, when they're balanced, does the same thing. But when you open up the pineal gland through a vibration, through a chanting, it doesn't close shut. Where drugs, actually, they open up that space and then it closes right away. That's why after 24 hours, if you've taken any mind-expanding drugs, the next day you have feeling malaise or you felt really depressed or anxious.
So that means it closes even more shut than kind of it was beforehand, before you took any substance.
Right. You had a lot of bad experiences, like bad trips back then. And Gurdev explained it in the beginning. I was amazed to know that he knew the science of it. You know what I mean? What he did when he explained something, he broke everything down to the lowest common denominator. So for me personally, he explained that to me personally when I started doing a lot of pranayama. He says, this is what's going to be happening. Especially when you do something like Yoni Mudra, when you do the humming breath with the locks, that really activates the pineal gland. About 25 years ago, there was a telethon with Jerry Lewis. It was a muscular dystrophy, I think. Yeah. So they showed you a picture of a young girl sitting at a table with a glass of water. And she went to pick up the glass of water and she dropped it. The next scene, same sequence, same girl, she picks up the glass of water and she drinks. And you say, what happened, Back then, what they did, they installed a chip that produced a vibration to the pituitary and the pineal glands. And she was able to, move her body once again. So with the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, not only do they stimulate the endocrine system, the nervous system, they work on all your extremities and all your different parts of your body. And that's what the breathing does itself, the humming breath itself alone.
Is there any danger in stimulating it too often, too much of the time?
I would say no. I haven't come across, in my 50 years of being with Gurdev and Integral Yoga, I haven't had any experience where like somebody really went off the deep end. I used to teach in the psychiatric ward. So if anybody was going to go off, they were going to go off. So.
And how about pranayama?
Pranayama, yeah, it's a basic science, and Gurdev, he always emphasized that. Even in the beginning, he says, if you're teaching a class, a hatha class, and you're running a little late, admit some of the postures, but don't ever admit the pranayama. Pranayama is, the prana is the vital life inside of us, and yama means control. And how do you control that life force is through the breathing. And all these different breathing techniques that he gave us in the beginning balanced everything out. The 3-part deep breathing gave us a sense of, balancing out the system. Kapalabhati cleansed out all the toxins in your body. Nadi Sudhi alternated the Ida and Pingala and sent the energy up to Sushumna and produced the meditative state for the mind.
So I think many of us have, access to these practices. We know them, right? So one is learning the practice. That's maybe the first step. And then the second step, as I see it, is implementing it in the day. Like obviously, if you're taking Integral Yoga Hatha class, you're going to experience that. But if you're not, and maybe even throughout the rest of the day, from your experience, what's a way to practice it more of the time? Kind of, I guess, to work with the mind, maybe, to say, I want to do this, just maybe for a few minutes in my day. It's important to me. How do we go to that next step of making it a constant practice within our day?
Well, in the beginning, when you're doing it at home, you can become aware of the benefits, what it does to your system, helps to clear your mind, So if you're at work and you're at a desk, you could just watch the breathing for a few moments, especially if you're at a computer, If you have a job that you're working outside, and it's cold and chilly or something like that, you can do I used to work outside with my father, construction. So I used to do Kapalabhati like throughout the day. I used to do Kapalabhati and put cayenne pepper on my socks. I'd be
Your socks?
10 degrees and I'd be almost sweating. Then before each meal, Kapalabhati helps digestion tremendously. Gets rid of that excess mucus. It gets rid of the fermentation in your stomach. The most common over-the-counter item in a pharmacy is an antacid. And what pranayama does, it gets rid of that acidity that's in your system, in your stomach especially, that's causing a fermentation and drawing the energy from your extremities and also your brain cells.
Is the idea, or the way that you see it maybe, is that, there's like a certain elasticity in the systems of the body. And pranayama is one way to kind of expand the elasticity of the body. And by doing so, it's like expanding the range of what is possible in our system. And the system seems to react well when we do it. It doesn't want to just be in the exact same state all the time. It wants to kind of see what its range is. Is that your experience as well?
Yes. After when Gurdev designed the class, it was done in 3 parts. See, and the gross level were the physical postures. And after you're doing the postures, after that, before you do yoga nidra, your body is in an acid state. Because of the fact that the postures, what they do is they put pressure on particular organs and glands, and they put, especially like if you're doing head to knee pose, and the right side is the gallbladder. When you're bending forward, it squeezes the toxins out and goes into the bloodstream. See? So when you do yoga mudra, which is the final mudra before you come up and do deep relaxation, your body is a little over acid. The deep relaxation calms that prana down, and the breathing purifies the body, reduces the acidity. That's why it keeps the body more alkaline. I mean, if you had to just talk about it physiologically, that's why in the beginning, because our bodies were so toxic, he had us do the kriyas even before we did the postures. Does that sound all right?
Yeah. Do you still do kriyas?
Not too much anymore. I used to do more often, especially stomach washes and string netting. I mean, Gurdev, in the beginning, our first institute was in Compton Station, New Jersey. And we were rented a house from the Sisters of Charity. Brother David got us the house. And when Gurdev came to speak one time, he actually told us, as a family, there were 17 of us living in the house, we should do the kriyas once a month. So together, 17 of us, we used to do the kriyas once a month. We used to even make the string netting ourselves. The only thing I didn't do was swallow the cloth. I couldn't do it. I just made me choke once. So, but the bowel cleansing, and also there's alternatives to kriyas, the cleansing techniques.
What was it about Gurdev that caused you to say, I want to learn from him?
His common sense. He had a tremendous amount of common sense. And when he explained something to me, he explained it he brought it to my level. He never told me to stop doing drugs. He never told me to stop doing this. He presented a better, an alternative. And that's what he did. And for everything, all my experiences with him, whatever he told me to do was clear. It was direct, and it really made sense to me. And over the years, seeing him being in different situations, being with him in prisons, and being with him in drug centers and in colleges, and the effect he had on people, you just couldn't help but be around him. I mean, he was like a brother to me, a father. He was like my mentor, everything.
What direction do you think you might have gone in if you hadn't met him?
I probably would have did something similar, because as an altar boy, I used to wonder if there was a God. That was always on my mind. Is there a God? What does he look like? And then when I got involved in the Catholic Church, he's go to communion, confirmation. And then when Gurdev came along, it was like, it's amazing, because when we rented the house in Common Station, we rented from the Sisters of Charity. And Mother Josephine called me in one day, Mother Superior, and she asked me, and she knew my background, she asked me why I got involved with Gurdev. And I says, he had all the answers that the Catholic Church didn't give me. And, so it was, he had an answer for everything I asked him.
How would you define what God is now?
Peace. Peace that's inside you. When I feel that peace inside of me, when I do the sadhana, when I was with Gurdev a lot, I felt a certain peace that I had never experienced before. Even strong drugs couldn't do it. Being around Gurdev did for me. And that peace, I always felt that around him. And when I do my sadhana every day, and I feel that peace all the time. I guess that's what God is all about. Nothing distracts you. Even now, with everything that's going around, I could as honestly say, it doesn't really, I'm concerned, but it doesn't affect me emotionally or physically or anything like that. I even feel, tell also here, I said, even if I contacted the virus, Gurdev gave us enough tools to get rid of it. So with that confidence, I feel that's what God wanted us to feel like or be like.
Thanks for answering that. And do you find that the more that you experience peace, the easier it is to return to that state, that it is a practice?
Yeah, because we're fortunate here because we're here every day at the Institute. So this is like, all day. I get here early in the morning, and then we're here till 7, 8 o'clock at night. Then I go home and it's peaceful too. So there's not too many experiences during the day that we find that stress, that level of stress that would affect us normally. And even now, it's like a blessing because we're fixing here. We got new floors in the Institute, and somebody donated money, and we're doing really well. And we're getting along. I mean, sometimes financially it's very taxing, but I think it'll just come. I think this is, in a way, I don't want to call it a blessing, but it's an awakening. And I think that we're going to learn how to live with it and coexist with it and handle it very well. And it's just through the information that Gurdev gave us, the practices that he gave us, enable us to handle whatever comes our way. He said the peace is when he says, it's good to be peaceful in Hawaii, it's good to be peaceful on an island. He said, but when you're peaceful in the turmoil that's going on, then you know that you're doing your practice as well. See, so we're in turmoil, we're near Paterson, New Jersey, we're near demonstrations, we're in the virus, we have hospitals near us, but we feel that confidence that everything's going to be okay.
Do you think there's a difference kind of between making peace your priority as opposed to joy? Yeah.
Well, for me, peace is joy. Something that makes me peaceful would make me joyful. So either way, I'm okay.
I guess the point is like maybe I guess what you're saying is the peace in itself is the high.
Yeah.
But instead of looking for the high, the intention is the peace, and there's something about that neutrality that in itself has that feel
Yeah.
that is joyful, that is kind of high in a way.
Peaceful and joyful. So, I mean, in every day, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate. I mean, we're exposed, Gurdev exposed us to anything that he knew, he gave us. He went to naturopathic school. He worked in cars, and he just gave us everything he could give us. And
I feel like you do that too. I don't know too well, but that's my feeling, is that you're constantly sharing your knowledge with other people, and that you have that trait. Is it ever frustrating for you to kind of repeat yourself, the same advice, the same things that now you've been practicing so long? Is that okay to keep saying the same things again and again?
No, not at all. Not at all. It actually is very comfortable for me. And I mean, it's very humbling to me that people even ask me for advice. So it's like I feel like blessed. Some people call me up and Margabandhu, could you do this? Could you do that? It's very humbling to me. And Gurdev, it's all through him. I mean, he taught me privately. He told me things to do when I'm working on people. He gave me information, and that's something that. And when I work on somebody, I'm thinking of him, and I'm feeling his energy go through me to that person. And if I had any success in my practice, it's just through him. I actually feel that.
Anything that you can share about service, just the benefit maybe that you've found in serving others?
Well, you don't want, like, for me personally, teaching classes and working on people, just the joy that you see other people happy, it makes me feel comfortable. One time we were at a lake with Gurdev, and everybody, it was a real hot day, and Gurdev was sitting on a blanket, and everybody's in the water enjoying. It was real hot, and Gurdev and Chandra, the other Chandra, the Chandra from way back, goes up to Gurdev, says, Gurdev, we're all swimming around, and you're just sitting watching us. How come you're not swimming? He says, you were swimming, and I was swimming. So he was enjoying us, enjoying ourselves, And that's what he did all the time. He always explained, he says, when I see someone, he says, doing the practices and getting the benefit that I once felt, that's what makes him happy. So if I work on somebody and I explain to them how Gurdev explained to me, and it works, and it makes me feel really happy and joyful.
I remember a story about him that he went to play tennis with someone, and they were having a pretty competitive game, and Gurdev ended up winning. And he saw the look on the opponent's face and how upset he was when he lost. And I think he shared like an insight there that wasn't a great feeling for him to see this other person in a state of displeasure. And from then on, I think he said he changed his perspective then and saw that there's even such a joy in when someone else beats you in a competition. I thought that was kind of a fantastic insight.
Yeah, in the Golden Present, he explains that in one of the readings, So, yeah, he wanted us to be happy. That's it. One time he told me that. He said, I just want you to be happy. A couple times he asked me to do certain things in the beginning, and I didn't want to do them. And he says, well, how come? I said, well, I don't know. I just don't want to do it. He says, okay. That was it.
Yeah, I feel that understanding is so important, right? Especially in a relationship between a teacher and a student, right? That the great teachers don't try to force their students to see it their way, that there needs to be that buy-in, that understanding, the common sense explained that you said, that it's not, don't just listen to me because I'm the teacher. Listen to me because it makes sense what I'm saying.
Like I said, his common sense was like unbelievable, you know. And he knew each student. He treated everybody individually like you were his only disciple, and he knew us very well. I'll tell you a story. I told him everything about myself: drugs, depression, anxieties, everything about him. I never told him I was bad at math. So during the course of my journey with him, and after I was getting a little better, he started calling me up and telling me, Margabandhu, he said, I'm going to get a hot tub put in my apartment. Could you take some measurements? And he says, the tub is 16 by 24. So he made me go to the store, and I was trying to figure out measurements. I'm saying, how come he's asking me to do that? There's always carpenters all the way around. He's calling me from Connecticut. I'm in New Jersey. There's somebody else to do it. And so I give him those numbers. Then he called me up a week later. He's going to buy tires for the car. He said, I need Michelin's tires. He said, what do you think on the rims? Should I put 42? I'm saying, what's he doing that for? You know, what on? Like, he was trying to get my mathematical mind working. It's amazing. You know, that's how well he knew us. You know, he just saw that pure energy in people, and that's what he looked at. That's what he looked for.
Have you ever experienced that with someone else, that you have an insight to see kind of an area that they could focus on and it would be beneficial for them if they did?
To be honest with you, when I work on people, sometimes I see a picture, and I could tell right away what to do.
What do you mean a picture?
I see it comes like a picture, like in my mindset, and I can figure out what to do. And I know it probably comes from Gurdev, because every person I say a prayer, and he comes through. See? So my mind, you know, so each person I kind of see. Sometimes I see that energy.
So is the experience then coming to a neutral, peaceful state, and then trusting in whatever kind of comes from that state, and because that state was pure, you can trust what is drawn from there. Is that right?
Perfect. I say person, you know, when I can, you know, release us from any karmic tie we might have for one another, you know, and let that energy come through that person, you know. So
I'm going to go back to the connection that we feel for each other, because that's at least a theme that I've been hearing a lot during this whole situation that we're in now, and I feel like many other people are too. That we're all connected, right? That we're all in this together, and you called it an awakening. Is that maybe one of the key points for the awakening, to realize the way that we're all connected?
Yeah, it's something for us to share with one, especially here, because most of us have the same mindset. We share with one another, like any information. Somebody might not be feeling good one day. You say, maybe you should do a little more breathing, or watch your diet a little bit if they're feeling sick. So it's something that we share with each other that makes us balance each other out, you know, and we enjoy doing that, you know, telling each other, you know, if someone doesn't feel well, or what to do if they don't feel, what to take, what not to take, what to do, relax a little more. So we're sharing with each other, and families are doing the same thing. I mean, what I find, because I'm out a little more, I find that people are being more polite to each other. In spite of all these, you know, like these demonstrations and everything like that. I go to 7-Eleven every morning to get the paper for my wife, and get a coffee. And actually, the big burly guys, construction workers, and actually they take a step back. They're very polite. They say, have a good day. It's amazing that everybody's being so polite. So kind of like, it's sort of like everybody's becoming more aware of their inner selves, and there's a certain thing that's coming out of them, and it's coming from their heart. And I think that's going to be very beneficial to us. And I think in the long run, we're going to do fine, you know. And through, especially with being, you know, the information that Gurdev gave us, as far as working with our immune system and the breathing, you know, I mean, a virus has to be fed, so we're not going to feed it. You know, not going to let them in. You know,
How about the situation, maybe it could be seen as another kind of virus, so to speak, that's happening now with all the protests. How do you personally experience something like this going on when you hear about it and you see what's happening? What's it been like for you?
Sad as you to begin with. It's a very sad situation, and a lot of times other things happen besides that kind of like magnify the situation. But the one thing I find is that I go into myself and find out, do I have any things that I should correct in my mind to prevent something from ever like that happening again, or me agreeing with any situation that might come up. So I feel that for me, it's like makes me take a step back and look at my surroundings and see what other people have to say about it, and come to my own conclusion as what I should do and how I should feel. Because a lot of times the information, everybody has an opinion. For example, there's a famous football player. His name is Drew Brees. And he's done a lot of work. He's a quarterback, and he's done a lot of work with what's that one hurricane? There was a hurricane in New Orleans. I forget the name of it.
New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, and he does a lot of work in inner cities. He donated a lot of his pay and everything like that. And he happened to say one thing the other day about not dealing, and he's got a lot of slack for it. His whole life, he's been a devoted human being and a devoted father, a devoted religious man, and now he's getting a lot of flack for just saying one little thing. So sometimes you just have to be careful what you say and what you do.
It's an interesting aspect of our culture too. I think many people feel that way, like that it's dangerous even to speak your mind, because what if I say the wrong thing, right? And that's not a great place, because that's not a feeling of freedom that I can express myself. And it seems that maybe there's a lot of people that are in the habit of pointing out, oh, you did this, now I can kind of vilify you, and I can forget about all the other good things that you've done. I don't know. It's like, what do we expect for us not to be humans? Like that we can't have a misstep, that we can't do something wrong. And the wonderful example is afterwards, I think if we're able to say, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I don't know what I was thinking, Can there be more allowance for that?
Well, Gurdev always said, measure your words. So when you present something to someone, present it in a way that they will accept it. So a lot of times we have something to say. If I'm going to have to tell somebody something that I think they might not like, I take a step back and try to figure out the best way to say it to them, and present it in a way that I think they might accept it.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice, because we can get in trouble, with words a lot. And it seems to me that it might have something to do with our relationship with silence, right? And gaps in space, that maybe we're uncomfortable with silence, so we need to fill this space. And then that's like the opposite of measuring your words, because I'm just going to say something because I'm afraid of the silence, and then you get in trouble.
That's good. But anyway.
So I guess a question out of there is, integral yoga, from your experience, how is silence important?
He said if he had a preference, he'd prefer to be silent. And when your silence is like fasting, when you fast, after 3 days of a fast, any proteins that are stored in your body start to burn out malignancies in your system. So after a certain period, after becoming silent, the brain waves start to change as well. See, those currents start to change a little bit, and the hemispheres start to change. The hemispheres balance themselves out a little more. So that's what silence does.
Do you try to take a break from, most things? Like, okay, even if it's something that you like to do and feels good, I'm going to take a break from it every once in a while?
I'm on a break all the time. I'm always on the break. I always feel like I'm on the break. When I work, we're here, I feel like, I don't know, I feel the same all the time.
Was it always like that for you?
A lot of times, sometimes, yeah, I say most of the times, because I had a pretty easy childhood. I mean, I had 4 sisters, and sometimes that was annoying, but otherwise it was okay.
I have 3 sisters too. So.
Yeah.
Is that related to kind of this idea that like life is just a play, that the whole thing can be a play? Is that how you see it?
I try to look at it that way. I mean, I try, even my worst situation, I try to look at it. It's like, well, I'm watching this. And I'm just an observer. I mean, some things might happen that would be more, serious, and then my emotions would probably catch up to it. But usually I try to, situations that happen, I try to be as comfortable as I can. That's why with this situation now with the protesting and the virus itself, I try to take a step back and do what I can to alleviate that situation in my mind. So for us here, myself personally, I feel that I have enough information and enough tools to really fight off the virus. And then as far as like the outside forces, I just have to, deal with it and try to accept it and see what happens. So.
If you would only offer, maybe 2 or 3 tools to, as you say, fight off the virus, what might those be?
Nutrition and breathing. Active breathing would include the meditation. A virus doesn't enter into your system unless it's looking for something to feed off of, And certain breathing techniques, especially, would eliminate. In other words, you know what the koshas are, right? Koshas are frequencies in your body. And the most healing kosha in your body is the pranayama kosha, which deals with the solar plexus area. And Kabbalah Bhati is a tool, the expelling of the breath, expels the toxins, but it also stimulates peristaltic motion. And once those wave-like motions are still in your stomach, it could fight off any virus. What happens? A virus feeds off unbroken down proteins in your body. When you're not breaking down foods and there's a fermentation going on in your system, that's why a virus stays in your body. See? So through Kriyas and Kabbalah Bhati and watching the diet, it throws that system out. It throws all those toxins out. So, virus, if it's not being fed, it'll just leave, or it won't even enter into your system. How do you get rid of cockroaches? You clean the counter. So you do. And they don't come around. So especially our integral yoga, our Gurdev's technique, that gets rid of everything. The pranayama, the breathing, the meditation at the end, that gets rid of all those toxins. I guarantee if you practice the way he designed the class every day, you don't have to worry about it.
I love this, the idea of just getting clean in all ways is how I personally, look at it. Getting clean, of the stories, of the insecurities, of the, all the things that feel like they don't serve, including the nutrition that isn't nutritious, and everything. But just this idea of what you're talking about is, and focusing on the self, my own work, getting clean. Yeah.
See, people refer to it as alternative medicine. There's no such thing as alternative medicine. Depends on what side of the fence you're on. See, for me, if I was the way we eat and we do herbs here, everything like that. If I felt I needed medicine, I said, well, I have to do something alternative. I have to go take medicine. And the other person is doing medicine. Is I need alternative medicine because that's not working. So I'll do herbs. So there's no such thing as alternative medicine. It's what you do inside to clean yourself out. That's the alternative. I'm going to show you a Kriya and a Mudra for the immune system. How's that? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, if you could do it in Vajrasana, the diamond pose. It's called Sat Kriya. And you fold your hands and pray Vishnu Mudra and pray by your solar plexus. Okay? Just watch me the first time. So what I do is you inhale, you slowly come up, keep the arms straight. Now you contract the lower extremities like preventing yourself from urinating. You're holding it. And then as you exhale, you come down. Okay? So inhale, slowly come up. Hold the breath, contract. Exhale, come down. Inhale, slowly come up. Hold the breath, contract. Exhale, slowly come down. Inhale, slowly come up. Contract. Exhale, slowly come down. One more time. Inhale. Hold and contract. Exhale, come down. Just relax for a moment. And what this Satkriya does, it benefits the adrenal glands, which help benefits the immune system. Also, in this position, in Vajrasana, you're putting pressure on two meridians, the stomach meridian and the gallbladder meridian. Okay. And that helps digestion, elimination, and benefits the entire immune system. Next, we're doing something called Ganesha Mudra. So, have the left arm open, palm facing towards the wall in front of you. The right hand in the opposite way, and you clasp the fingers together. Now, exhale, relax the fingers. Inhale. As you exhale, pull them apart. Inhale, relax the fingers. Exhale, pull them apart. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pull apart. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pull apart. Once more. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pull apart. Hold. Just relax. And you can switch the hands. What this does, it benefits the heart, lungs, the entire immune system. Also, on this side, this is the heart meridian. And then when you switch the hands, you're doing the small intestine. Small intestine and heart are related. Okay. That's called Ganesha Mudra. Okay. That helps the entire immune system. Now, what we do next is we do something called Yoni Mudra. Do we have enough time? 10 minutes? We have enough time for another breathing technique? Yeah, okay. Cross-legged position. This is the breath of inner peace. So you place the fingers, the palms facing the stomach. Now, as you inhale, you slowly come up, bring the fingers up. When you get to the throat area, open up the palms, extend the arms out to the side, keeping the elbows slightly bent. Upon exhalation, the palms are still facing up. As you get to the throat, bring the fingers down, slowly come down on the exhalation. Inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, slowly come down. Inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, lower down. Just continue breathing this way for a few more moments. Those of you that are familiar with Ujjayi can do Ujjayi. On your next exhalation, just bring the hands into the lap. Just become aware of the benefits of Prana Mudra. And the last technique that we're doing, called Yoni Mudra, that's the Brahmari breathing with the locks. So open up the hands. If you don't know how to do it, I'll demonstrate it. The index finger will go on top of the eye without pressing. The middle finger on the crevice of the nostril, the ring finger on the top lip, and the pinky on the bottom lip. We're going to do 5 rounds. So after the 5th round, you keep the locks into the ear and do, after the 5th round, hold the locks in for 30 seconds. And then bring the hands into the lap, and then we'll end the class with the meditation and the Om breathing. Okay? So index finger on the top lip, pinky on the middle of the crevice of the nostril, ring finger on the top lip, pinky on the bottom lip. Now inhale, thumbs in the ears, 5 rounds, and you're on your own. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all darkness. Victory to that light. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki
Jai.